According to my friend and co-host Gerry Samson, without safety and trust, there's no chance of long-term success. And this is what we'll be discussing in this third episode of our podcast, where the center of resistance is always outside of the box. My name is Stephane Reinhardt, Director of Education for the C.L.E.A.R Institute, and this is the Odd Couple. Bonjour. Bonjour, Gerry.
Yo.
Hey.
What's going up there? What's going up there, Kanta? Now I can see you better. I'm looking up from here.
Bonjour, Gerry. Bonjour. Comment ça va? How are you? Hello, my friend. Happy to see you back. Hey, welcome everyone to this third episode already. Third episode of The Odd Couple. Or like Gerry, like you said, it's not a podcast, it's an oddcast.
An oddcast, yeah. We've received some nice feedback from some of you people, which we appreciate a great deal. We're doing it mostly for our own amusement and engagement, but we're glad that you find value in it. It's interesting in dentistry. I don't know about other professions so much.
Well, the funny thing is, we had some comments coming from people who are not dentists, and that's really funny. I'm thinking of somebody in particular who said, she's part of a group I'm part of, and she said, I just wanted to listen to this just for, to support you, but finally I said, whoa, what's that? And that's Francisca. If by the way you're listening, well, thank you very much. I really appreciate your comment. And she's in Manila. She's in Manila? Yeah, she is. Yeah.
Is she in an envelope? A manila envelope. Yeah.
Don't
listen.
Don't do that. Tough. Don't do that. Don't stop. Stop now. Stop. Gerry, today when we ended the last episode, you said that today is going to be about safety. Safety. What do you want to talk about safety? What is safety? What do you mean safety?
Yeah, I think in my career, I was in college for 5 years before they finally let me into dental school. I think it was they let me in like an experimental animal. I finally got in 1971. I actually applied 2 years in a row before that at Marquette University in Milwaukee. And they said, no, we don't think so. I don't know, it may have had something to do with, I was on scholastic probation my first 2 quarters. Yeah, this Jesuit called me in. Marquette is a Jesuit school. And the Jesuit, the head, I don't know if he was the head guy, but he was the guy that when I came in, I thought it wasn't good because he was wearing a black hood and an executioner's axe. I was wondering why. But he picked up the phone off of his desk. He picked up the phone, old-fashioned telephone, and he held it out, Stephane. He held the phone out to me, and he said, do you want to call your mother and father and tell them that I'm throwing you out of school, or would you like me to do it? And, not being of the Catholic persuasion, I stared at him and said, any possibility of one more chance? Just give me another chance. He did like this, Stephane. He said, one. And he said, a 1.75, bringing it up to a 1.9 when a 2-point is average, that's not going to work here. And I don't know what you're doing, but you're not studying. Well, I was in, so that extended my undergraduate college career for a bit longer. And then I wasn't taking, I don't know if I've ever told you this, I wasn't taking the appropriate courses to get a degree, because at the time you could get into dental school without a bachelor's degree. And I was just sort of rocking on taking the sciences and other things, a lot of psychology. Well, I took a lot of child psychology, trying to understand myself and my why people didn't like me and why I didn't really care. So one of the most important things in child psychology that's emphasized is that when a child is coming up, being raised, if you will, the child has to feel safe. And there's a lot of things in the environment that can make a child feel very unsafe. One of the things is if it's an only child, which I was not, my brother is a year older. But one of the interesting things is, well, you've got an older child, and if the child is 3 or 4 or something like that, well, now the child is old enough to realize that when another child is born, now their safety is being threatened. Now they're not the only child. So early on, I was thinking about this safety issue. I think in a lot of psychology, they refer to it as appropriate love for the child, and appropriate love, not inappropriate love. So yeah, that's sort of the basis of what I was thinking about. And then it's the same with, I think in everything. I mean, thinking of friendships and relationships. I mean, if the basis for the relationship isn't surrounded by trust, which is, as I mentioned yesterday, trust and safety are two sides of a spinning coin. And if you stop the coin from spinning, it's either going to be safety or trust. They're the same thing. And also, as I mentioned last time, the 4 cornerstones of the Disney success are safety, courtesy, showtime, and efficiency. But everything falls apart. Safety, courtesy, showtime, efficiency. Let's say it together, Stephane.
Safety, courtesy.
No, together, Stephane.
Oh, well, this is English. I mean, I thought it was like trying to say the words.
Okay.
Safety, courtesy,
showtime, efficiency. Now let's try to say it in French. How do you say safety? How do you say safety?
Sécurité. Efficacité. Let's stop there.
That was pretty good.
But that's good. It's pretty good. No, really. I mean, you would take that really fast. Okay, I'm sure.
Showtime.
Like 2 months here in Quebec, and that's it. You're a Quebecois.
Then they were already asking me to leave, like they suggested at Marquette. I said, I continue my studies at another university. So, safety. I think. What I really think about that is now with this COVID business, that's the whole basis for the problem. And here in the States, it's a huge problem with lawlessness, and people just don't feel safe. There are areas of Atlanta that were the highest end economic areas, where all the very, very exclusive shops and restaurants and the beautiful people go there and so on. You know, because of looting, those areas are no longer safe.
But
and,
you know what you said, I think it's exactly, and there's almost a nuance there. You said people feel safe. Is there a difference between feeling safe and being safe? I think what is safety? Safety is something that goes between your two ears. It's nothing you can hold in your hand. It's nothing you can see. It's nothing. It's just it's a feeling. I feel safe. Are you really safe? But there's a difference between feeling safe. You don't know. You think you're safe. There's a difference there between feeling safe and being safe.
Well, without trust, you can't, if you don't trust the environment like this, defunding the police, for example. That's just, how can you trust in safety or safety and trust if you don't trust that there will be law and order? Mm-hmm. Well, if we funnel that into the dental office, it's easy to focus on this now, isn't it? Because of the virus. But think about the safety records for airlines, for example. That's or being on time.
No, but that's a good example, airlines, because especially you, because of your age and experience. No, but you probably saw. No, but you probably saw a big evolution in what is safety. When you started working as a dentist, you were not wearing gloves. You saw all this transition where we've added so much thing to make it safer. Look at the airlines. Look at how you took the plane 25 years ago and how it is now when you go in a plane. Now they put so much things to make you feel safer, but do you really feel safer now, or you felt safer 25, 30 years ago when you were taking the plane?
I think not because of technology. I think it's definitely, up until now, it's definitely safer now. When I learned to drive,
it is safer now, but do you feel safer now? It's safer, but you feel, you had no issues 30 years ago when you were taking the plane. You had no thought of, what could happen. Plane can go down, but about safety, about this safety in the environment, safety in the people in the plane, safety of things that could happen, safety. I think when everything if we talk about terrorist attack and everything, I think that the gain, when they gain something, when they win, is when they make us feel less safe. Less safe. This is where it's not about how many people they kill, or that's not the thing. It's just making us. Can you say unsafe? No.
Fear.
That's it. Fear. They are putting some fear in every one of us. Fear, and you're looking at people, and you're in the plane, and you're looking at people, and you're wondering, and things that you would never even consider before.
Yeah. Instilling fear is fear for your safety. It's a violation of a trust.
Yeah.
Well, like when I was learning to drive, when I was a boy, there were no safety belts in cars. There were no padded dashboards. The padded dashboard, so if you hit the dash in a crash, the padded dashboard was an option that you had to pay for before the government here in the States made it a requirement. Mm. And, the list goes on and on. Now, what I think is interesting for us to talk about, and for the people listening and watching, by the way, watching this is much better than listening, don't you think? You can't see for right now. Like right now, if all you're listening, you have no idea what the two of us are doing. It's quite funny. But
it's also funny if you only listen. It's just, watching is just an added value.
So yeah, think about it as like if you just listen to a movie, but I digress. So in safety, I think that in the dental office, for example, mm-hmm. the statistics that I'm aware of is they're saying you have a 1%, there's a 1% chance. This is evidently reliable data. There's a 1% chance of contracting COVID in a dental office. Well, dentists have been forever. I mean, since I graduated from dental school, I graduated from dental school in 1975, and you weren't required to wear gloves. You wore gloves if you were doing some sort of bloody surgery, like God forbid perio, or extracting teeth or something like this. All right, then you wore gloves. Mask, no. No, there really wasn't any requirement. So it's an evolution that happened. Yeah. And as you mentioned, wearing gloves in the beginning was sort of daunting, and doing orthodontics because you're used to feeling the wires. Well, now you had to get that tactile sense through the gloves, right? I mean, I would imagine it was the same using a high-speed handpiece, that there's a tactile difference. But all right, there's only this minuscule chance of getting COVID in a dental office. And what I thought would be interesting is to talk about what the image is of the office. Now, a number of years ago, Stephane, I was on a program, a panel discussion. I was not the moderator of this particular panel, but I was on the panel discussion, and there was some marketing people, and there was a branding expert. So it was not about orthodontic or dental technique. It was about business. Yeah. And so because of my selection in private practice of having, we mentioned this last time about the concierge or boutique, there was an interest in me being on the panel. But to my left, there was a fellow who was a recognized branding expert. Branding, big deal, your brand. What is your brand? In the discussion among the people on the panel, I asked the branding expert, well, what does your brand mean? What does that actually mean to have a brand like the Apple brand of computers, or the Coca-Cola brand of beverages, or the brand of the National Football League, or the brand of where you are, for example, the Quebecois. I mean, I became quite interested in this culture that you live in and the identity of the culture. So if I ask you, Stephane, what does a brand mean? What does your brand mean? What would you say to that?
For me, and I'm a good example because I'm developing a brand for the C.L.E.A.R.
All right.
So that's it. We're working on this, and for me, it has to be representative of what I am, what I want to be, what I want. It's an image, but I'm sure you want to hear something else. It has to be something with safety because otherwise you would not bring it up. But for me, it's really, I mean, you know, we went through doing logos and motion videos and everything, and motion designs and everything. And, you know, I always had to go back to, this is not me, this is not me, this is not the image I want to, but it goes with what I want to project, what I want. And I never thought of safety through that. And maybe it's there unconsciously. I don't know. I'm looking forward to hear what you're going to say about this.
Well, it's actually what this branding expert said. And well, in my organization in Gnathos, or in my private practice, which I stopped, I guess, 3.5 years ago now, or there is a brand in our friendship based on what this branding expert said. And here's when I said to him, what does it mean to have a brand? He said, it's very, very straightforward. It's the promise that you make. And I remember looking at this young fellow and said, that's really good, isn't it? What promise do you make in the C.L.E.A.R Institute, what promise do you make in our friendship? And the basis of this, I think, is, at least from my view, is there's a trust and there's safety, and that people can trust that I'm going to keep my word. And that, to me, that's a huge issue. That if I tell somebody I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. As a matter of fact, I'm sure you've noticed this, because I'm positive I've done this with you, not only personally in friendship, but also when you're coming to the Gnathos classroom. What I tell people is, and I picked this up from Jim McNamara, the orthodontist, to be honest. He would say, now, I'm going to email you, or I'm going to do this, or I'm going to do that. Let's say it's an email or a text. I'm going to send you that reference. Now, if you don't receive the reference within the next few days, please remind me, because I don't want this to get lost. I don't want it to drop into the great black hole. It could get lost in cyberspace, but would you remind me, please? Now you've sort of transferred that, and I started doing that routinely, because I thought it was a very bright thing to do. Now, for example, running on time. You and I are not obsessed with running on time. I think you and I are both obsessed on doing the best we can. And if that means it takes longer, well, do you want good or do you want fast? Because speed is a byproduct of expertise. Think about, like, I know you're playing the guitar, right? Still doing that, right? All right. Well, if you try to play really fast, you don't play accurately.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, and I'm just, you're talking about the guitar, but I'm taking piano lessons now. And the last lesson I had last week, this is exactly what my teacher said. She said, try to play a little slower because you're missing some notes.
Exactly. Speed is being quick is a byproduct of expertise. So that if the expertise is a container, you can't add speed to it until you've already developed a certain level of expertise, and then you can start moving faster. Think about dentistry. Like the first time that I did an occlusal restoration.
Oh my God. Okay. Let's make a challenge out of this, because I remember my first occlusal too. Go ahead.
All right. What happened? I received the start check from the doctor.
Yeah.
Let's say it was 9 o'clock in the morning, something like that. And I think I put in the intermediate restorative material at 11 a.m.
Oh, high five. It was exactly the same story for me. Exactly the same thing. It took me 2 appointments. I had to put a temporary thing and see the patient again for another 3 hours for an amalgam on the occlusal of a 36, a lower first molar.
Yeah, you can even, well, I got into trouble in dental school numerous times for using direct vision. But if you're a dentist, that's supposed to be funny, if clearly wasted on Stephane. But
I'm probably not a dentist. That's it.
Yeah, right. The last time Stephane got in any trouble was running with scissors. That guy's a rule follower. Actually, I know you're not. So I think that that when you think about this branding idea and the relationship it has with the promise that you make, well, I mentioned running on time. Well, I would tell people in my private practice, this is during the new patient, I called it a new patient interview, that I do everything I can to stay on schedule. I think that when you don't stay on schedule or know how to behave, when you can't stay on schedule, the front desk that encounter the patients first, If there's not a protocol, you violate a trust. I mean, when's the last time any of you watching and or listening to this went to a physician's office and you had a 10 a.m. appointment and you check in and they either say something brief or say nothing, have a seat or we'll be with you soon. 10:15, nothing. 10:25, nothing. 10:45, nothing. And you start to get fairly nervous or upset because they're violating a trust. No one even has the courtesy to say, well, the doctor is saving somebody's life or I apologize. Nothing.
Or just telling the truth. We are running 30 minutes late. Don't pretend it's going to take 5 minutes or 10 minutes when you know. And it's the same thing in the dental office. This is, I think, really important to go to the patient and tell them the truth. We're running 45 minutes late because of blah, blah, blah. People will maybe they're going to say they're going to be a lot more comprehensive on this if you tell the truth than if you let them know it's going to take 5-10 minutes, and then another 5-10 minutes, and this is where you're working, talking about trust and safety. There it is. I mean, you're telling me things that you're not telling me the truth. How do you want me then to feel safe and to trust you? But if you go and say, Mrs. Jones we're so sorry, we're running late. It's going to take 30-35 minutes before we're able to see you. Would you like to reschedule? What would you like to do? What would you like to do? What do you prefer? Not me, yeah.
No, absolutely. Stephane, where this originally started, the information I have is, as many people are aware, Atlanta is home to Delta Airlines. Mm-hmm. Well, there was a time when Delta Airlines was moving up, and I just don't mean the jets. I mean, they were trying to move up in their reputation for running on time. I mean, that is a huge issue in U.S. airlines and Canadian running on time.
Yeah.
In other parts of the world, I remember I was taking a flight in, I think it was in Brazil. I remember the name of the airline was Servivenza. Mm-hmm. And when my hosts found out that I was going to be going from one country to another country on Servivenza, they said, well, you'll be lucky to get there 24 hours late.
Really? Okay.
They said, who put you in? So Delta Airlines was trying to improve things, and they did a survey. Uh-huh. And the survey was of customers to find out how to make customers happier with their customer service. Mm-hmm. Well, here's what they came up with. And I understand they invested hundreds of thousands of dollars in this study. Mm. And every well-served customer service industry has picked up on this. First of all, you should greet people. Mm. So like when I walk into a lot of establishments, or when I was doing such dangerous things before COVID, people would say, welcome to CVS Pharmacy, or how are you today? Mm-hmm. That's not, these are training things. Well, what happened, that was one of the things, but it used to be when I would fly on airlines, you would go up to the desk to check in, and somebody would be there, and you would sit down, and you might get there. This is pre-September 11th. So let's say that you were ready, sitting there waiting 45 minutes ahead of time, or maybe 30 minutes. And look out the window. There's no plane out there. 30 minutes before, right? Mm-hmm. No plane. Mm-hmm. Not good. 20 minutes before. No plane is sitting out there. Not good. 10 minutes. And no one had gotten up from the airline and said, we apologize. There's an equipment delay. There's a weather delay. Nothing. No courtesy. So what Delta found out was Tell people immediately if the flight is on time or running late. Tell them immediately.
Yeah.
People calm down. Now, think about, you must have these in Canada. There are these big signs over the expressway that say there's a car wreck or a car accident at 285 and Northside Drive. Expect delays. Now, why did they start doing that? Oh, I think it was Delta Airlines. As soon as people are informed, they calm down. What's the normal response? What is taking so long? What is taking so? When a friend is late for dinner, let's say, what's the first thing you say when they finally show up 20 minutes late? What's taking so long?
What took you so long? Yeah.
What happens when you go to a restaurant and you have a 7:30 reservation and you're not seated until 8 o'clock? That's not the beginning of a very, very enjoyable experience, is it, Stephane?
No, that's it. You're right.
It's different if they said, here's the ultimate. In a restaurant, you go to the front registration or the reception, and I'm Gerry Samson. I think I have a 7:30 p.m. reservation. Mr. Samson, I apologize, but we're not going to be able to seat you till probably a few minutes before 8. And this was really unavoidable. We apologize. Can we offer you a complimentary beverage or two at the bar?
Exactly.
Now, that is class. That is style. Now, what I would expect these days is I would receive a text from the restaurant saying that they're running late. Now, what about a dental office? Well, what happens in a dental office, and I'm talking to the people watching and listening, what's the protocol in your office? When someone checks in at the front, are they told that will be, it's 10 o'clock in the morning, I know that you have a 10:15 appointment, we'll be with you shortly? Or are they told when they check in, I apologize, but there was an emergency, and Dr. Reinhardt had to take care of this emergency situation. It's going to be another 30 minutes. Let me offer you a few options. We can give you the public access to the internet, which calms everybody down mostly. You can sit down and enjoy one of our fine outdated magazines. You could, if you could go run some errands, and I can text you 10 minutes before the appointment, something like this. Offer them choices, or as you just said, reschedule.
Yeah, well, I think offering them choices is good, but asking them after, what do you prefer?
Yes.
What do you prefer? It's not me. It's like when your front desk is giving an appointment. You should never say, no, I have this or I have this. No. You have nothing. That's why I always tell them, you have nothing. No, I have Monday morning or I have a Tuesday afternoon. No, you have nothing. It's always, what do you prefer? What is best for you? You make them make the choice. They need to have this impression. And it's, again, it goes, all these things, they go back to like building this trust and this safety and this, it's all part of it.
I think this is part of providing an exceptional service that people are be happy with.
Yeah.
And I like the term, I can offer you.
Yeah.
Because like you said, the front desk doesn't have anything.
You have nothing. That's it.
I can offer you this. I can offer you that. I can offer you this or that. What would you prefer?
Yeah. I would say gave them two choices. You always should give two choices in everything, all the time. You want to go to the restaurant with Betty, but you're not sure she's gonna. Don't ask her, Betty, you want to go to the restaurant tonight? Because she could say no. But if you ask her, Betty, would you prefer to go to this restaurant or this restaurant? You have more chances to go to the restaurant that way.
That's interesting because in pediatric dentistry, and I think most people or either know or don't care that I'm dual trained in pediatric dentistry and orthodontics. I did 2 separate residencies. And one of the very, very important things that you do with a child is you offer them a choice. So for example, would you like to sit in this chair or that chair? Or taking impressions, once we started using flavors that we would add to the alginate, you have 3, I can offer you 3 choices. You want vanilla, strawberry, or lemon.
That's it.
And then I would actually let the kids squirt the stuff in there.
And it was not about, do you want to take an impression? No, it's not. We're taking an impression. That's not even an issue. It's just, you have the choice of the flavor. You have the choice of the chair. It's not, do you want to go in the chair? No. You're going in the chair. That's clear. It's just, but you can choose which one. So
the person feels that they're in control.
Yeah.
Now, another interesting thing about that, and Stephane is very aware of this, but a lot of people listening probably aren't, but my brother-in-law is autistic. And as most people might be aware these days, autism is on a spectrum. It's a continuum from severe autism, where these folks really don't communicate at all, all the way up to where my brother-in-law is, and he is in the category of what's considered a savant. His IQ is so high, they can't find the ceiling to his IQ in numerous areas. But when it comes to emotionally, he's quite autistic. So he's 65 or something like that. But he has an emotional age. He transitions between a 7-year-old, an 11-year-old, and depending on when you catch him, he might seem to be completely within normal limits. But that's temporary. That ain't going to last. Well, one of the things that we found out, that my wife found out was incredibly important from his counselors, is offer him choices, because autistic people, these folks tend to feel helpless. Everybody's always trying to tell them. Everybody's not trying. They're telling them what to do. And the inference from the autistic side is, well, I can't take care of myself. I'm not being allowed any choices. So think about, and his personality and his compliance and his temperament completely changed once he was being offered choices. Like a prime example is what you gave out. Would you like to go to this restaurant, or that restaurant? And any one of which is okay. And then when we would get to the restaurant, he could be extremely difficult. This is as an adult, not a child. He would get very frustrated trying to decide what he wanted to eat. So my wife would say to him, well, Bob, why don't you pick 2 things that you would like, and then you order one and I'll order the other. And then before I even touch the food, you can taste both of them and then decide which one you like. And whom he would calm way down. So, and it would make him feel safe. That's what would happen, is that we would, nonverbal communication is we're trusting in you to make a decision. So it made him feel very safe. The basis, I think, for success, in long-term success in any relationship, is knowing what makes the person feel safe. So for somebody who is obsessed with running on time, which wouldn't be me and it wouldn't be you, but with patients, they should be identified as people that they expect you to be running on time.
But because of that, this is why sometimes you have to be surrounded by the right people. Because exactly like you said, you're not like that, I'm not like that. So I have to have people around me that are more like that to help me being on time, because it's important in what I'm doing. It's important to be on time with patients, because again, this is what they're expecting. And if we talked last time, I told you that I could spend I don't know how much time just making grooves in a composite, and I could get lost there. I could get lost there. This is why sometimes you need the right people to be with you, not the right people in your team to get you back on track, get you back in sometimes in reality, depending how you are. So, yeah.
We were talking, Stephane and I were talking with some other dentists actually yesterday evening and night about treatment times. And in orthodontics, for example, because Stephane, you mentioned yesterday that all you're doing now are clear aligners, isn't that right?
Yeah, that's true.
So you've transitioned out all restorative dentistry, is that true?
Yeah. I have other dentists in the office doing, we're a one-stop shop. We do everything, but I take care of the orthodontics in the office.
So one of the things that happens in orthodontics routinely is the patient wants to know when they're going to be finished.
Yeah.
So again, here is an example of trust and safety. And when you say, well, your braces are coming off soon, if you're using fixed appliances, your braces, what is that supposed to mean? Soon. To the doctor, soon may mean 3 months.
Yeah.
To the patient, soon means now or this
Tomorrow.
week.
Yeah, that's it.
Now, I wonder, it seems that, and then you're violating a trust. If you say soon, and then the patient says, well, what does that mean? Well, within the next few months. What does a few months mean?
And it's good. It's good when the patient asks you. The problem is when they don't ask. If you say something like soon, and guess how I know? Again, because it happened to me. I said that in the past. And you have the patient coming back for the next appointment, and they think you're going to remove the braces.
Yeah.
It's clear to them that this next appointment is removing the braces, and you're just saying, well, no, we're not removing the braces today. I said soon, but like you said, it's very clear to us, but we have to think of who we're talking to.
Yeah, and when we do that, when we say soon, and they're, as you correctly state, they think that means the next visit.
Yeah.
Well, all right. And then they say, well, wait a minute. I thought you'd take you say, I didn't say that.
Yeah.
They say, yes, you did. Well, now you have violated the trust. Now you've made them feel unsafe. You can't keep your word to them.
Yeah.
So what I found out in private practice, and I never treated any clear aligner cases at all. I decided that was going to be a school of thought I wasn't interested in, nor did I do Herbst appliances or forces. I figured out ways or mini screws, temporary anchorage devices. I decided, nope, I've been around long enough that I'm quite comfortable.
Yeah.
I feel safe that I figured out ways around all of this. I didn't say my way was better.
No.
At all.
Well, it was better for you.
Better for me, which perfect, Stephane. So that's now I figured out, and this was not part of my training because in the university at Northwestern, where I did my orthodontics, they didn't seem to be that concerned about the treatment times or violating the trust. That you say, well, about 2 years. Well, 24 months, every study that I've read shows that it's in fixed appliances, it is not 2 years.
Wait. Unless you're using self-ligating.
Oh yeah.
But that's another story for another episode.
Yeah. The marketing claims, right?
We're just planting seeds to keep you coming back.
Don't get involved. Don't be okay, Stephane. Here, I'm gonna do this in English. Ba ba ba. Now you do it in French. It sounds very French.
Can you hear? Can you see? Can you picture yourself somewhere in France, going on the road, and everything is so wonderful, and you just open the windows of the car and you hear, bah, bah, and you tell yourself, "Oh, they're here too."
Yeah, I speak. They speak. I can hear French. It's back. Yeah. Well, don't be easily led by these marketing claims. Don't do it. That's certainly not. That doesn't show much self-respect to be that easily led with no evidence. Mm-hmm. Well, the average treatment time that I've read in a fair number of articles is not 24 months, it's 30 months with fixed appliances. Mm-hmm. Now, so we shouldn't be telling people 24 months. In private practice, what I learned to do by getting knocked around by people, they were upset their braces were on longer than what I said, was I learned I didn't tell them 24 months. I told them 30. Mm-hmm. And for example, at the new patient, at the new patient interview, people want to know about how long their teeth are going to be in prison, the bars and the. Uh-huh. And I'm going to be curious in a moment. I'd like to know what you have to say about clear aligners. What your reality is in private practice and what patients' expectations are versus the claims. Now, what I would say to people is I would say, now everybody is curious how long their teeth are going to be in jail, how long you're going to have the braces on. Mm-hmm. And now I'm going to tell you the truth. And the reason I'm going to tell you the truth is because if I lie to you, you won't like me. So I'm not going to lie to you. I'm going to, and I know you'll tell me the truth, won't you? Stephane, you'll tell me the truth, won't you?
Oh, oui.
All right. Oui. So most people doing orthodontics are going to tell you your braces will be on about 2 years. But the reality is that is not an accurate statement. It's more like 2.5 or 3 years. It's a long time. Now, how long your braces are going to be on depends on these factors. And those of you listening to this, watching this, are more than welcome to pick this up. Mm-hmm. Use it your own way. It depends on how consistently cooperative you are. That's the first and most important thing. Cooperation means if you have to wear rubber bands, which I suspect you will, if you keep your teeth clean because clean teeth move faster than teeth that are not clean, because clean teeth are what, Stephane? Clean teeth are...
Happy teeth?
They're happy teeth.
Happy teeth.
Say in French, clean teeth are happy teeth.
Oh, ce sont des dents qui sont joyeuses. Elles sont contentes, elles sont joyeuses.
Okay, I won't try that one.
I mean, yeah, it means that. It means coming to your appointments.
What else does it mean? In being consistently cooperative.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what else I think it means is being pleasant when you come in. Huh. That's nice. All right, so it depends on how consistently cooperative you are. It means not bending the wires or breaking the brackets. How consistently so back to, let's say I'm talking to a patient, how consistently cooperative you are, how quickly your teeth move, because we have a lot of scientific evidence that not everybody's teeth move at the same rate. Some people's teeth move more quickly, some people's teeth don't.
Yeah. And sometimes it can be one of your teeth that doesn't move like the others.
A very stubborn tooth, yes.
That's it.
How consistently cooperative you are, how quickly your teeth move or don't move, and how challenging the situation is. Because when things are easier to start with, the treatment doesn't take as long. Mm-hmm. So you have about an average situation. So I'm going to tell you about 30 months. Now, it may actually be 24 months or even 20 months, but we're going to have to wait and see, because I know you're going to be cooperative, but let's wait and see how consistently cooperative you are, how quickly your teeth move. I already said that as far as how challenging it is, it's about average. But I'm going to write down, I told you 30 months. That's, and I write it down. I put it in the computer. Mm-hmm. Now, what I found out was that most of my patients finished before 30 months. And because I think of a combination of motivation, the basis of which is communication. Mm-hmm. not just from me, but I only had 2 team members, 2 employees. That was it.
Yeah.
But it was the way all of us behaved. As soon as I realized that the case was not going to finish in a timely fashion because of either lack of consistent cooperation, that coming into the visits, or the patients not keeping their teeth clean, or not wearing their rubber bands, or breaking their,
or a combination of a couple of things. That's it.
As soon as I realized that they were falling behind, I immediately was having a talk with them, a very showing concern. But this is, as soon as, if there was one visit of non-compliance, I mentioned it and said, no, I know that you want to get done on time. So you really do need to wear the rubber bands consistently the way I've explained, because I want you to finish on time. And I know you want to finish on time, don't you? Don't you, Stephane?
Oh, oui.
This is really important in behavior modification, that you get an answer. Don't say, I know you want to finish on time, and walk away. Mm-hmm. You need to get them to say, yes, I do, or I agree, or something. And I would do this with the teenagers and younger patients in front of the parent. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm on this immediately. The whole idea is to show compassion and concern, but it's also to maintain the safety and the trust. Yeah. Now, when it comes to clear aligners, my perception, which is based on nothing, is that people feel more imposed upon with fixed appliances, whether they're clear brackets or metal brackets, compared to clear aligners. You have a lot more control, the patient does, with the clear aligner. You can take them out. What is your feeling about that?
Well, my feeling is that this relation you have with the patient, this conversation you have, are even more important. I mean, and I do only clear aligners, but I mean, I started with braces. I still to date, I did more cases with braces than I did with clear aligners. And I think one of the reasons maybe why some dentists and orthodontists are hesitant to use clear aligners is because of this this impression that we do not have as much control on the treatment as we have with braces. We're not, and I mean, dentists, we're perfectionists, we're control freaks. I know maybe at least one that is control freak. Do you, Gerry? But I mean, we want to have control. We want everything to be perfect. We want all this. It's all it is. One patient didn't go as planned on a day, and you're just thinking about this patient. So I think it's even more a big part of having success with clear aligners is being able to be good coaches for our patients, because we need them to wear these appliances. We're talking about rubber bands. I don't know how many years I thought that when it was not working with rubber bands, I was doing something wrong. There was something I didn't get. There was to a point where I saw one guy named Gerry Samson who explained to me that when it's not working, it's because they're not wearing the elastics. And I had the chance to spend some time with him in his office. And I saw how he was talking to patients and what he was telling them. And I understood finally that they're not wearing the bands. They're not wearing the rubber bands. They're not wearing the elastics. This is why it's not working. So probably that my message was not good enough. Probably I was not making enough emphasis on the importance of this and what I was expecting from the patient and everything. And clear aligners are like elastics, are like rubber bands. It's like if they don't wear it, it will not work. I mean, if they don't wear the rubber bands with the braces, everything you're doing, at least with the braces and the wires and everything, something will happen. If they don't wear the aligners, I'm sorry, nothing will happen. You wear the aligners half of the time, well, we might have half of the results. if we're lucky. But that's the thing. So it's even more important with clear aligners. What we were talking about, treatment time. For me, I go the same way. I mean, if I think that treatment is going to take a year, I'm going to say a year and a half, and plus or minus 6 months. I never had, and I would be curious to know what you would say about this, but I never had a patient complain because the treatment time was faster than what we said. Never. And sometimes dentists are worried about that. Yeah, but if I say 2 years and it's and I charge, if I say it's going to take 2 years and I charge $7,000 for the treatment and it only takes a year and a half, they're going to say that, well, it was only a year and a half and you charged me. Never. It never happened. I never had that. Nobody complained because the treatment was shorter than what we expected first. But the opposite. The opposite. If you say it's going to take a year and a half and it takes 2 years, the last 6 months is going to be very long. Very long. And I don't have the impression, I don't know about it because I cannot know about that, but I don't have the impression that that some patient decided not to do the treatment with me because of the treatment time I expected to treat them. I don't think that anybody decided not to do a treatment with me or decided to do it with another dentist because I said 2 years and they would say maybe a year or a year and a half. Or there are reasons why I say this time. And I think if you only say it's going to take 2 years and you don't explain why, there's a difference because sometimes it can be a second consultation, a second opinion. They come to see me for a second opinion, a third opinion. And if you say, well, the other guy said it's going to take 6 months. Why did he say that? Now, what's the answer to that, Gerry? Why did he say that?
I don't know why he said that. You'd have to ask that doctor.
Exactly.
No.
I don't know. But I can tell you why I say it's going to take a year and a half. Because you see, this tooth here is rotated 45 degrees. And I know that when we use aligners, I'm going to rotate maybe 1 degree with each aligner. So just there, we have 45 aligners just to rotate that one. When you explain these things to patients, when you explain why, there's a reason, there's a clinical reason or a scientific reason, people are not, they can get whoa, I think he knows what he's talking about. And not only he knows what he's talking about, the whole team knows what they're talking about.
Yeah, this is interesting because I had that happen for real more than a few times. There'd be a second opinion coming in, and we're talking specifically about the treatment time. And the patient or the parent would say, well, the other opinion we had was 14 to 18 months, but you're saying about 30. Why is there such a difference? And I'd say, well, I don't know why the other doctor told you that amount of time. You'd have to ask that person. But what I found to be very important is that I'm truthful with you. Now, I'd love it for only to take 14 months. That would be terrific. But if I tell you 14 months and it goes 20 months, or if I tell you 14 months and it goes 24 months, you won't be happy with me at all. And I wouldn't blame you because I didn't tell you the truth. Mm-hmm. So I'm kind of obsessed with being honest with people. Now, that said, why don't you think this over and decide what is in your best interest? And if you'd like to come here, I'll be delighted to see you. And as I say that, I'm getting up to leave the room. Now, the other part of that is...
You're doing what you're doing? You're doing like Columbo. You remember Columbo?
Yeah,
he was like that. He would say something, just get up and pretend to go. Just by the way, on your car, we could see that there was some blood on and he would just...
Well, again, it's being timed because about when I'm going to do this, but I tell you another podcast or oddcast that we should do, Stephane, because for everybody engaged in this, this is Stephane's deal. He's really in charge of this. I'm just sort of along for a good time.
Oh, we had more than a good time.
Yeah, but what we can talk about in a future issue is the importance of getting a commitment.
Mm-hmm.
And we're talking about the success in a global sense, success.
Yeah.
Getting a commitment.
Yeah.
Why is it important to make a commitment? And how is it different in psychological studies? And this is actually from a book called Stumbling on Happiness by Gilbert.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll mention that again for Stumbling on Happiness by Dan Gilbert. He's a psychologist. He may still be at Harvard. And his whole thing is studying what makes people happy. I'm gonna put
a link in the description so you can go directly buy it on Amazon.
And Malcolm Gladwell, who I think is one of the more brilliant U.S. authors in the last few decades, he wrote The Tipping Point. He wrote What the Dog Saw. He wrote Outliers. He wrote some things about this book that I think are in introduction to the book, but I know that Gladwell said, if you were at all interested in the human condition of happiness, read this book. Trust me. It really is that good. Mm-hmm. And that's where the psychological research is about the importance of making a commitment, and that people are actually happier when they make a commitment than if they, I don't know, do you say this in French, if they waffle? Do you use that term, waffling?
No.
Well, you can do this, you can do that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Waffle, no. Waffle for us is to eat.
Yeah, that too. Well, how do you say it in French if somebody is not making a decision? How do you say that?
We just say,
It's an emotive noise. Do that again.
It was just,
Yeah, there's a Yiddish one that is really funny. Ich weiß nicht. It means, how would I know? We tend to not like people that do that they're not decisive.
Yeah.
So they don't need to be imposing, but that's rude. Mm-hmm. But being non-decisive or continuing to change in your mind, and all we have to do is look to the left, to the right, up and down, and we can see all the politicians that are doing all of that, being, as Kevin O'Brien says, being very economical with the truth. Something I read of his recently. Right? Did you read that?
Yeah.
Being economical.
Yeah, that's good. So yeah, it's a good idea. I like the idea for the maybe in the next podcast. I know we want also to talk about apologies and apologizing. That should be probably the next one.
Okay. Well, all right. Well, you pick one of them, and those of you that are.
It would be fun because if we talk about apologies and apologizing on the next podcast, it would also give you the time to read the book from Gilbert, and it's gonna even more fun for you if you read the book and we talk about it on maybe not the next one but the other podcast after that. Mm-hmm.
And if you have any preferences, you're watching this on YouTube, or I don't know, how do they give feedback? They can do feedback.
On YouTube, it's really easy. You just write in the comments just below here, write in the comments. If you have questions or anything, you can also reach us. Our emails are in the description below, so you can reach us there. And in the podcast, again, in the description of the podcast, you have all the links. Everything is there. Don't hesitate to communicate with us. And if you have topics or things you would like us to talk about, or if you have questions, anything that can feed us, and knowing that it's of interest for you, feel free, please. This is meant to be,
I think another interesting one that just occurred to me is doing a podcast on disappointment.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
I mean, how do you deal with disappointment? How do you deal with failure? I think that would be, it's one of my favorite things because I came to grips with this from my own personality quite a few decades ago.
Yeah.
Quite a few. I figured out how to unwind the wind-up tension of feeling disappointed in myself or feeling that I've failed. There is no success. This is very Taoistic, isn't it? Up and down, left and right. They're the two sides of the same coin. Success and failure, hot and cold, light and dark. These are success and its opposite of failure. These are things that are reality. There is no light without dark. If everything, again, it's very Taoistic, it's Lao Tzu. If everything were beautiful, ugliness must exist for you to perceive beauty.
Yeah.
So, that would be a very interesting one that there's a bit of an age gap between the two of us, as well as a cultural gap, and then cultural commonalities.
Yeah.
Well, Stephane, it's always a delight.
Always. All the time. I mean, and that's it. And we're really happy you're enjoying this, all of you. And we will see you in another episode of the
Odd Couple. Let's show them a couple.
What's a couple? Let's show the couple. Two equal and opposite forces separated by a perpendicular distance. Hey. Okay, everyone. See you in the next episode.
Ciao.
Join us next time for another entertaining episode of the Odd Couple podcast, where we will talk about apologizing. This is hard sometimes to do, but it can make all the difference in the world, especially in what we do. My name is Stephane Reinhardt, Director of Education for the C.L.E.A.R Institute. I'll see you next time. Meanwhile, have fun making the move. If you like this podcast, there are other episodes and more to come. It's also available to listen to on all platforms. Google things that you might like this video, but I think that you might like this one also. And if you click on my friend CC here, you will subscribe to this channel.